Hey guys, what's happening? How is everyone? Okay, today we are back again to do a video review of Calyx M. I've done the unboxing of this Calyx M DAB before, so I won't go into the details. I'll post the video link for it down this particular video. So we are going to see what the player can do, what the UI is like, and the sound quality of this player, and the price. So currently the retail price for this player is around $1,000, $1,000 US. Yeah, and this player can play, I think you can throw any files at it. You can name it like from MP3s, CD quality files like WAV, AIFF, and also it plays DSD files natively. So it plays DSD 64 and 128-bit. And also it plays the DXD, which is the new standard. I think it's the WAV 324-bit, maybe I'm wrong. Yep, so let's get onto it and see what the player is like and how it feels. Cool. Just to start with, so we'll look at the hardware, and I'll keep the iPhone 6 here beside the player. As you can see, the player is actually quite big in size, and that's just for comparison. It says M over here, it's Calyx M. We'll look at the sides quickly. It's quite thick and it's quite big in your pocket, and it's quite heavy but feels quite good in hand. It's made quite good. The build quality is nice. At the back it just says Calyx M and stuff. There's nothing much there. On the side we can see the physical buttons. Okay, so the front don't have any physical buttons, I forgot to mention that. On the side we can see has the play button, rewind, the forward, and this is a unique thing you'll see in any player, like no one has done it. It's a magnetic volume slider. So the volume is controlled using this particular slider. It's magnetic in nature. I'll show it in the UI how it works. This thing is actually pretty tough, so it's quite hard to take out, and I tried a lot, and yeah, you need to actually push it out to take this out. So there's no fear of getting this thing lost, and if you try with a normal magnet, you can still make the volume slider go up and down. Okay, so let's see what's on top. We can see on top it has a headphone jack, 3.5mm headphone jack. It can take two cards. One is a micro SD over here, and one is a full-size SD card. And so that means it can take 128 gigs in micro SD, 128 gigs in the full SD card. And it has inbuilt 64 GB inside internal memory. So you're actually getting quite a lot of space to have your huge song collection, and DSD files are quite huge. Like we're talking about like 10 songs around 4 GB or something like that, approximately. And here is the power button on the top. Look at the bottom, just the USB standard micro USB port over there. Yep, so as I was telling, this is the full SD card it can take. I'm using it as a SD card adapter because I have 264 gigs micro SD card. One thing I've noticed is the player becomes really hot after playing for too long. The battery is actually quite big and in size and quite capacitive, but the battery life maximum I got was around 4 hours or 4.5 hours. I think that's a big disadvantage for this player. But the amp section is pretty good. For the DACs, it uses dual DAC. It uses a Saber DAC implementation. I won't go into the technical details. It's what it matters is how it feels and what the sound quality is like. Just to give you an example, it could drive the Roxannes pretty well. I won't say it sounds super, but it can drive them really, really good. Now what we are going to do is boot up the UI and see how the UI is like. So that's the boot screen animation. Okay, here we go. As I said, the boot up time is actually quite slow. But the screen is AMOLED screen. I'm not sure about the exact resolution, but it is really looks really nice. Everything is a bit sharp and nicer. I think screen is better than the AK240 in terms of resolution wise. So this is the home screen of the player. Okay, before we go into the details, let's look at the firmware version. So if I go here, it shows the time, date. So this is built on top of Android, and we are going to look at the settings first and then see what's the other UI components of it. So whenever it locks out, kind of like a mobile phone, when the screen dims out, it goes into a lock screen. You can actually turn it off from the settings. In the lock screen, it shows a clock up here, and it's a sliding lock screen. Like if I slide it down, it unlocks. So let's look at the settings. It gives you a summary of your internal storage. I don't have any SD cards inside. Otherwise, it will show how much is left on the SD cards. It's quite handy and useful. So as I was telling, this is the settings menu. So what we can see is the lock screen, whether to have lock screen or not, and lock hardware buttons. I think which is quite useful, because when I'm using this player and I hold it quite often like this, and then I by mistake press the side buttons, or when you're on the move, you can press the side buttons, hardware buttons accidentally. That's that fault. So I think if you turn it on, then it will lock the hardware buttons. Then what we have is the gapless playback, standard screen off, language, library menu, library scan. One annoying thing is every time you boot up, it scans up your library. So the larger the library it is, the more time it takes to scan. So this is something new which they introduced called impedance matching. So based on the headphones you're using, you can choose different impedance level and set it. I think it's quite good and works as expected. And the volume control method, which is magnetic at the moment, or also you can enable on-screen volume control. So this is the system info. It's, as I said, it's 1.0. And if I quickly, the UI is a bit laggy. It's not as smooth as a AK240 or AK players. As you can see, I'm sliding the magnetic volume, and the volume icon shows here. Yep. And if you have a track playing, it will show up here. Now I wasn't playing nothing, so it's no track, and you can go actually choose track info and the standard play, skip track, previous, and the next next track. If I go left, I can see the music comes over here. So we get a folder view, we get artist view, tracks, and the album. The album artwork is quite nice. If you have multiple albums, they show up here, which is really good what they have done. So, and the music shows up here, and you just press it and it starts playing. And if I go to the home screen, so I get the view here, you get the album art over here of the song you're playing. You can pause, play. On the right hand side, if I swipe right, you get a jukebox kind of thing, which I think they introduced it. It is kind of a playlist, and then you add all your songs into it, and I can see a playlist. I can manage a playlist by selecting a song. So it's a jukebox, like a standard digital jukebox. You can go there and add your tracks. I can show you how to add tracks into them. So if you go to music and then hold on to a track, then it will say whether you can delete it, you can get info on it, and whether to add it to your playlist. So if we check info, it gives you a detail of the track. So this particular song is of resolution 24-bit 192 kilohertz. And if I go back to the home screen, so we can get track info as we saw the last time. And also I can click here, it will take back to the album you were in, so that you can choose some other song from the particular album or the folder you were playing. One thing to notice is there is no folder view, and what I mean by that is this folder view is just a list of folders in your SD card or the internal storage, but you don't get the folder view like the tree view, I mean. So it won't start from the root, like if you have songs in like say high res in one and PCM quality songs in another one, and they are different folders, you cannot get that folder view yet. I think they're going to, it will be there in the next few updates. We have the search functionality, so I can just go and search. This is the standard Android keyboard, but it was more, the UI was more laggy. I think in firmware 1.0 it has become quite good, but the battery life hasn't improved. The battery is actually still quite horrible, like. So let's go to the sound quality. The sound quality is actually really good. It is to be on the warmer side. I've used AK240 before. AK240 sounds more clinical, or I would say it's a bit better than this. But this one, the output of this, like the driving capability is really good. It can drive the Roxannes, as I showed before. I had my i800, I think it pairs really well with that. One thing to note is you don't get any optical out like you get with Dazzle and Kern players. And also I think there's no line out. It's a standard 3.5mm out. There is no balanced output with this. That's why I think the price is quite low. Yeah, sound-wise it is extremely good. I actually quite like it. And the treble is a bit on the harsher side, I think, than the AK240. Cool, thank you guys for watching the video. Please like it. Thanks.